action. So, hi, welcome to an episode of Cooking with Warren. And in all seriousness, I need to apologize. It's been way too long since we made a video. Apparently, peace, dude. Anywho, that's something different. Maria and I have been really working on upgrading our techniques on it, our titles, special effects. Maria's got some wicked cool camera tricks coming up. So I think that you'll find that it's been worth time as we go ahead and move on. One of the things also that we picked up gobs of sponsors while y'all were gone. And this is the first one. This is for Laura Murphy out of Charlotte. And she said, you know what, Warren? We should do a beginner thing. What are the things about basics? So I said to myself, where do you start? And I said the beginning. So, onions. Onions, we should do one of those things like on the Iron Chef where you lift it up. Next time.
Not part of our special effects box.
Okay, so, onions. So, onions really occur in every cuisine. And the first cultivated onion was about 3,500 BC. So they've been around for a while. When you cook them, they develop a sweetness. When you have them raw on a burger, they give you a crunch. If you're peeling them and they're room temperature, soft and fried, contact lenses will help, or little swimming goggles so you don't get the onion juice in your eyes. So let's bring the camera closer for one of our first special effects on our camera. No pressure. It's sort of like moving on one of those gimbal things, but not as cool. Okay, so I've got 4 different onions here. These are generally the type of onions that we have here at Chef Warren. These are green onions or scallions or spring onions. They're called that because they come up in the spring and they're green. So yeah, there's that. These are shallots, which are, we've talked about this before, these are onions with pedigree. In French they're called enchalote, or échalote. And I guess more than one would be deux shallot and tres shallot, as you get more of them. Red onions. Red onions are a little bit sweeter. They're great on in salads, raw, ceviches, burgers, all that kind of stuff. And they're called red onions because they're red. Alright, the humble yellow onion. Yellow onions are the staple onion. There's 347 different varieties of yellow onions that are being grown, not to be confused with the white onion, which is something different. So let's talk about it. Onions are a lot like ogres in that they have layers. Wait, that's backwards. Well, you guys know what I mean. So let's go ahead and let's peel this onion up and see what we got. So this is a bird's beak knife. It's really kind of cool because it looks
Hold
like
it still.
No, it's doing the bird thing. It looks like a bird thing. Okay. So you're
then you should be tweeting this instead.
Ooh, that was good.
Oh yeah.
All right, but all right. So, we've been working on our jokes too.
I don't think so.
More work. Okay, so this is our onion, and this is our little knife. So your thumb goes on the core right there, and your blade goes in. Boom, twist around. Okay. You want to lose as little as possible because you pipe for the whole onion, so you want to use as much of it as possible, right? It kind of makes sense. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. Just twist around just a little bit. From there, I'm going to show you. So you'll get people who peel this thing, and to me that makes no sense because it just doesn't make sense. To me, if you cut it in half for most of our applications, and then you peel it, it makes more sense. But that's how my brain works, and yours might work differently. Actually, yours probably should work differently.
Mine definitely works differently.
Mine definitely works differently. So there's our onion. And we're going to do probably right now the 2 most popular cuts that we'll do with an onion. The first one is called dicing. So let's square up our onion a little bit. So now our onion's nice and square up. And if you notice, the onion's like an ogre and it has layers.
It's also green.
It's, well, yeah, but it's a yellow onion. Just trust me on that one. We talked about this before, and you're supposed to make me look good.
You do that well enough on your own. You don't need my assistance.
All right, so we're definitely going to need special effects. All right, so dicing onion, we're going to take a sharp knife. So let's talk about using a steel on a knife. So you ever see people who do like this whole thing? Stop it. So when you steel a blade, you want to put your blade into the ground and gently, and what this does it realigns the edge on your blade. But nice and gentle, and that's all that's required. Not a big deal, not a, because again, we already know how to keep our knives sharp, so we're keeping our knives sharp, right?
And your
Ish.
paper cut.
Right, okay, yeah. So, dicing onion. So, we're gonna come down, and the closer you make these cuts, the smaller your dice will be. So, I'm gonna cheat here. This is another one of those things. I'm gonna cut this part in half. And the reason why is it always sort of sprays out and gets kind of like silly. And then from here, now notice my hand's flat on here, not behind here, so we'll avoid cutting my fingers off because I like them. And then from here, we'll come down. This little bit here we can save for stock, soups, maybe we're braising a nice brisket, we can go in that.
Not the price brisket is these days.
Yeah, that's true. And then let's split this bad boy again too. And come down on that. Boom, there's our chopped onions. Pretty straightforward, right?
And unlike at home with me, no blood.
It's early stuff. All right, so there's that. The other thing we're gonna do is we're gonna julienne an onion. So let's say you're making hash browns and you want onion in your hash brown. So here's your other onion. I'm gonna peel it up. With our slick camera special effects. Again, using our bird's beak knife because we like it. So, Marianne, don't listen. You're not listening?
When am I listening?
Sure. So, I gotta tell y'all something, and don't tell Marianne. The truth is, you only need like a couple knives. You need a French knife, you need a slicer, you need a bread knife, and a paring knife. That's really kind of it. And maybe if you're gonna do whole chickens or home, that kind of thing, a boning knife. So, really just start with those, and then from there we can work on and buy all the other knives. One day I'll bring in my box of knives and take a look at that. That'll be a really long video.
You need a bigger truck.
Yeah. So here, we'll square that off. We're gonna cut nice little juliennes of onions. So notice here, when I'm cutting, my pointer finger points here, which is why they call it a pointer finger, as I pull it back so it holds it all, instead of just making a big mess out of everything, like that.
Is it weird when you have to slow down and actually think about what you do instinctively?
Well, you know I'm not thinking, you know that. We've been together way too long. So
That's not true at all. You're
there's
always
your,
thinking.
There's your julienne onion. Laura, I hope this was informative. And any other questions, give a shout. And we still need an ending.
Stay zesty.
Stay zesty.